Lenny!
What?
I want to propose a toast to a nice guy who's about to finish last.
But while I'm doing this, let's have a conversation about Superman before we cannot have a conversation about Superman.
You want to have... Wait, is this that time me and Joelington MD play Nightreign and talk about the new Superman movie that James Gunn just made on summer
I don't know.
2025?
I don't know if we could play and talk about it.
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
Well, you know I hated it, so I would implore you to go first.
I wouldn't say I hate it. I live in a physical universe where the best Superman movie has existed since 1978. So any new reiteration can't really hurt my feelings. I feel a certain kind of way about how other Supermen who aren't Christopher Reeves have done it. And I'm even including like the TV shows like Lois and Clark, Smallville,
Mm-hmm.
obviously the other live action movies. The only Superman movie that's been made that I really would say I really don't like for various reasons, where I just don't want to ever watch it again, is Superman Returns.
With Brandon Ruth.
And I actually like Brandon Ruth. It's just the movie and Bryan Singer pisses me off. But that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah, we can get into that.
I don't know. I can't say it in a nice way. So let's not talk about old Superman. I'll talk about new Superman. So they said James Gunn was going to do this, and my first thought was, that's a weird matchup, because this is the guy that made Super and Brightburn and Slither, and he wrote the remake of Dawn of the Dead, and obviously Guardians, and like I feel like he's good doing snarky anti-hero stuff, which I didn't want in a Superman movie. So that was my concern going in, and then when I watched the movie, I was kind of surprised how it was still kind of snarky in ways, but it was very like G. Willikers. Like, he has a very G. Willikers Superman who's forced to live in the worst time period ever. You know what I mean? It's basically, what if like G. Willikers Superman had to deal with like modern people with modern problems? So on that score, I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. I don't think the movie executed it very well. I think they sort of missed an opportunity there. I think that could have very easily have been a very interesting satirical take. But the movie kind of plays it safe in a lot of ways, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Best thing about the movie was I like Nicholas Hoult as an actor. I've loved him since he was a little kid in that Hugh Grant movie in the 90s. And, you know, I think he's a much better choice as Lex Luthor than Kevin Spacey or that fucking asshole Eisenberg that I hate. Mark Zuckerberg, whatever the fuck his name. I hate that guy. Everything he's in is just like, if I see his picture on like a movie poster, I'm like, well, I'm never gonna watch that. It's just, he sucks.
I agree. I agree so much.
My problem with this movie, the chief problem I have with this movie, and it's a big one because it affects the whole movie for me, is that well, there's two things, but the big one is Superman starts the movie getting his ass kicked, and he basically ends the movie.
It's Passion of the Christ.
At the end of the movie is he kicks his own ass to win. Like, that's the
Yeah.
The only time he beats anyone up in the whole movie.
I didn't look at it from that perspective, but yeah. He gets his ass kicked and then he kicks his own. It's literally Liar Liar. It's the bathroom scene in Liar Liar. Is what the movie is.
He's not the Man of Steel. He's the Man of Rubber. Okay? This is the first Man of Rubber Superman take I think I've ever seen where they did it with a straight face. The only people he beats up in the whole movie are like the random foot soldiers with the jetpacks that show up like, we're the henchmen, and then he just like spins around and knocks them all into like outer space,
It's stupid.
and that's it.
Dude, it was Passion of the Christ for me. I watched Jesus get his ass whooped for an hour and 30 minutes.
That's brutal. That's a brutal way to say it. But I see what you're saying. The other thing I didn't like, which was another big character thing from you with Superman, and I talked about this with my brothers because I went with my two brothers to go see it the same way I saw all the movies last summer, including Furiosa. And our typical policy is watch the movie.
It's a good movie, bro.
It's the best movie of 2024. Anyway,
I agree.
we went to a burger place right after because it's like right down the way from the theater, and we sat down. We ordered our food. We all looked each other in the eyes, and we had ourselves a gentlemanly chat. And for the most part, we don't always see eye to eye when we see something, but this was an occasion where all three of us were pretty much in the same opinion that Superman shouldn't get tongue-tied or verbally bullied by anyone else he talks to. He should be assertive. He should speak calmly, slowly, and for this movie, he just wasn't that guy. He gets worked up, he gets flustered in very basic conversation, and while the actor that played him was certainly like a tall guy, which I liked, the Man of Rubber applied to both, just everything about his character. He was rubber-tongued as well. And besides that, I mean, that's like the one thing where it was like, ugh. And I'll say this about Man of Steel and Henry Cavill. I'm not one of those guys that's all Zack Snyder can do no wrong. Zack Snyder has actually done very few movies really right, in my opinion. I'm one of those people that believe he's put on Earth to give me a Watchmen movie. As much as I like 300... and I do like 300. 300 is a very awesome popcorn movie. It doesn't have legs like the Watchmen movie does, although I'm probably in the minority on this. I think the Watchmen movie was great, and I'm glad that someone made it, and I'm glad that person that got to make it was Zack Snyder. But, his other stuff, it's like I pick and choose things I like. Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was the right Superman in maybe a wrong series of movies. Man of Steel was fine. I liked it. I liked Michael Shannon's take on Zod. I respected what he did. He did what Heath Ledger did. Where it was like, I'm not going to step on the dick of greatness. I'm going to try to do my own thing and make it different. And he did. And he was a great Zod.
I agree. I agree.
I thought he was fantastic. A lot of the other stuff in those movies were like fine. Dawn of Justice, I didn't quite appreciate how he just rushed to the finish line to cram The Dark Knight Returns into the same movie as The Death of Superman, into the same movie as let's just jumpstart the Justice League way too early. I wasn't a fan of that. I liked how some of the dialogue scenes played, but then again, it's the same fucking movie with Jason Eisenberg? What's his name? What the fuck is his?
Jesse Eisenberg.
He's in that movie, so I hate the movie because he's in it. It doesn't matter what anyone else did. He's so awful in it that I want to punch the movie in the face, but I can't because I'll break my TV. But Henry Cavill had something that this new guy doesn't, and maybe it was just James Gunn was trying to do something different. And I can respect the effort to say we're gonna make this a different kind of Superman in like a parody situation. There are little things in the movie I did get annoyed at the time I saw it. When they basically when Lex shoots the shopkeeper right in front of Superman and kills him, and then later in the movie when Superman finally gets the upper hand and like breaks into Lex's floating, command room or whatever, and then when he has his ultimate like face to face where he's like, I'm gonna take this guy down that did all this stuff, he basically appeals to him. Bro, no, just grab him by the throat and fly him to the police. Like, why are we why are you trying to reason with him? What are you doing? Also, I thought it was kind of hilarious that the Man of Steel gets outsmarted by a bunch of video game nerds getting commands from their boss over probably the best Wi-Fi.
1A.
Yeah, that was hilarious that they thought so wait, so what are they doing? So he's yelling at his interns to play the video game, and they give commands to Bizarro. He listens to the commands on like what, like an AirPod, and he's like, okay, I will punch to a checkerboard piece. And the Man of Steel, who can outrun the Flash, no, they can't communicate as fast as the Man of Steel can fight and move. I don't care. No, I disagree. I don't buy that. Um, Otherwise, what the movie was mostly whatever. It was very Diet Coke. I mean, overall, right? It was a very safe Superman movie from the guy that's probably so used to being called out for his edginess, he was trying to recreate his image. What else can I say? Again, this is kind of funny because I know I'm going to be the good cop in this situation, and Joel's going to be he's probably got a lot pent up. I can tell because when he saw the movie,
No, I don't at all.
you do, because
I
I'm going to
don't.
tell you why you do. Because when when you came out of the movie, this is the Discord conversation. Hey guys, I'm going to go see Superman today. I'm kind of excited. I hope it's good. I'll talk to you guys later. And then like hours go by, and then it was like, fuck my ass, bullshit, motherfucker. Me and Kevin are like, what happened? Who died? And then it was like emoji, like angry red face with the censor bar over the mouth, like duplicated with his 7 brothers over and over in like slot machine bars. And then it was like they shit on Superman's heart. And it was like all the messages that just spammed me. And I was at work. It was hilarious. I think I was at work. Unless it was a Sunday. I don't remember. Shit, dude, it was so funny. And then I'm thinking like, oh, Alien Romulus 2. Here we go.
Yeah, basically.
You know, it's funny. I'm trying to recall stuff now. Like, okay, yeah. So, what was with the exposition? I felt like I was watching a Netflix movie. Like, everyone is explaining things to the audience. Like, when Superman's in the chair and he's like, robots who have probably been in my fortress for decades while I grew up on Earth. Please rotate the chair and open the panel so the yellow rays of sun from Earth's star can regenerate my cells, while he looks at the camera and winks. And then like later he has to explain to the robots who the dog belongs to. Why? There's a lot of that in the movie with just characters explaining like plot movements.
Instead of just doing it and showing you.
And Superman is not the only movie guilty of this. I've noticed this. This is like something that I've noticed slowly creeping up in shows and movies. And I don't know if it's always bothered me, but in this movie, it was a lot.
The audience is dumb, bro. They gotta explain everything.
I did think it was cool that Millie Alcock is going to be Supergirl. Because she was the one thing I really liked about the new House of the Dragon show. But then season 2 came out, and then it's kind of a boring season. But she's great. She was great in the bits I saw. So I thought that was cool, and I kind of thought it was funny how she has to travel to solar systems with the red star so she can get drunk, because on Earth their metabolism overrides the the alcohol. I thought that was kind of a funny little bit. Even though in universe context doesn't make sense, because then she comes home and she's still drunk even though she's on Earth. But okay, whatever. It was a funny scene. It
was like science.
There's little things in movies.
I'm not mad at it.
I was watching that movie Life, where Donnie Darko and Deadpool are on a spaceship, and a little alien looks like a used condom starts coming to life and getting bigger. And then attacks the crew, and of course comes out, but it's just not as cool as Alien. Anyway, there's a part in that movie where like a scientist is in 0G and he gets his hand crushed by this like little string cheese looking alien thing. Like the wrapper that you put string cheese in, that's what the alien looks like in Life, by the way. If you're gonna go watch that movie Life, the alien in Life looks like a string cheese wrapper that's been deprived of its cheese. That's what it looks like. And it wraps around this guy's hand and crushes his hand. And then he pulls his hand out of the box that it's in, and it hangs down on the gravity the ship doesn't have in space. Little things just bother me.
Stay on point.
Oh, yeah.
On point.
So Yeah, I guess there was some of that in the movie. I actually kind of half liked that they basically said that Jor-El and was sent his son to Earth to basically conquer the planet. Um, One thing I felt that Zack
Wait, you
Snyder
said you
messed.
liked it or you didn't
I'm
like
gonna
it?
tell. Let me explain myself. Let me explain myself. I liked it because what I liked about it was that Zack Snyder has a fanboy problem with his movies, and one of the things in Man of Steel, which I didn't have a problem with at the time, but thinking about it now, I understand why this felt different. Was he basically took what Richard Donner did in 1978 Superman, down to the whole Marlon Brando says we should put the house S on his chest so he gets to have an S on his chest. Like they copied that detail down as if it was like true canon when it was just fanboyism for the 78 movie. And it, overall there was an artistry to the cinema of the 78 version, whereas Zack Snyder doesn't. It's just basically this bombastic set piece where Russell Crowe is like skydiving in the CGI planet. um, Whenever he dialogues with Zod and the other Kryptonians, cool. I kind of go cross-eyed whenever I rewatch that movie, and he's like flying around on the Avatar uh, bats, whatever the hell they are. Having said that, I love the presentation of Superman and Man of Steel, um, where you see basically the movie starts with him as a baby, and I love that. I thought that was awesome. This movie,
I agree.
James Gunn just basically, instead of doing what Zack Snyder did and was just try to honor the Richard Donner take on the Kryptonians, he's like, we're going to jettison all that because I'm not going to do what another guy already did and just repeat the same formula. So I'm going to do something drastically different. That's probably going to piss people off, but hey, I'm James Gunn. I wrote Lollipop Chainsaw, so like this is my Superman movie. Like I'm sorry, like, Joel Schumacher made a gay Batman movie. I made this. This is my thing. I'm sorry. This is all I know how to do. And on that token, I was like, all right, James Gunn, I understand that point. I know a lot of people probably got kind of
Mary is
like
really.
got furious with that whole thing about that aspect of the
I
Kryptonians.
did.
I understood what of many decisions in that movie. I understood that, and as second I saw it, I instantly moved on with my life in my heart and just kept watching the rest of the movie. I knew if I dwelled on it, then I would forget what was happening. So that was my
Yeah, but
take
you
on
didn't
that.
explain why that was okay.
It was okay
Or
because he
why.
was trying to not just copy Richard Donner, which I think a lot of the Zack Snyder issues that I had with the other movie was that he tried to basically honor Superman and the movie about Superman when he should have just been doing Superman. And while there's other mistakes in the James Gunn one, instead of just copying the comics, he's like, I'm going to try to do a retelling of this with this satirical style that I'm going with, even though a lot of this is going to fall flat for Will's opinion of the movie. But like that potentially could have worked if the movie itself was better. That's my take on it. That's my take on it. I think
I
the
guess that's the
movie
only thing I disagree with you on. But
I
okay.
think the movie failed that idea. And just to compare it to something, I'm someone that will defend Batman killing people in 89 Batman, Batman Returns, and Dawn of Justice. Like I will defend that, which is a stark no with Batman law as a Batman person, because you can justify some level of creative flourish if the rest of the product works. And as a comic book person, it's the whole comic book world is chock full of what ifs and alternate scenarios. That's very comic book. I don't see why the movie should be held to a different standard. So if it's done well, like when Tim Burton does it, it's awesome.
I
Like
think you've
Joker,
articulated your point almost flawlessly to the point where you've argued your point in the debate setting, and I respect it. And I submit. I yield. I think he won this one.
well, I'm not trying to win anything. I perfectly understand anyone who is pissed off by that, and I wouldn't even try to debate anyone's opinion on that, and I'm not trying to debate you on it. I'm just saying, for me, I gave it a pass under those pretenses.
I think you've articulated your point so well that I may even change my opinion.
And really, what it is too, and I appreciate that you're willing to hear me out on that, because while I say that, I can't let go of the other stuff I said about the Man of Rubber. Like that stuff just hung on to me the whole movie, and I kept waiting for it to just sort of like land where I'm like, all right, I get what they're doing. It's kind of working. It was always just the best it ever got was Vanilla Coke. Having said that, I was really prepared to hate Lois Lane based on the initial trailer I watched, where your introduction to Lois Lane is her verbally castrating Clark Kent in the home that they both live in.
Yeah, that
And that
12-minute
was,
interview scene where we have to go over his origin.
but if you remember, that was the in the first trailer for the movie. That was the first scene
Yeah.
with Clark Kent talking to Lois Lane that we got. Which for me, a huge part of revealing a Superman movie is you got to show Clark Kent and Lois Lane in the trailer, and it has to work. Henry Cavill and Amy Adams worked. Brandon Ruth and the other girl from Superman Returns did not. Lois and Clark, Terry Hatcher, and oh god, what's Superman's name in that? Dean
Kane.
Kane. That worked. Yeah, dude, Terry Hatcher and him and that show, that was fire, dude. They
I
were
agree.
that like you'd forget you were watching a Superman show. Like that was what was that UPN 9 or something? Peck in the 90s. That was rad as hell. Smallville. I'll say this for the WB, like I respected. I made fun of it back then, but now I think like you know what? They had an aesthetic. It's like let's take all the sexiest young people we could find and just make shows. It doesn't like paranormal, weird shit, whatever. So I was initially nonplussed for the movie based on that single scene. Everything else about the trailer I saw was like, okay, all right, fine. And then they did that, and I instantly threw my arms up in the air, sitting next to Laurel on the couch. You know, it was like that.
I agree. Although I don't agree Amy Adams and Henry Cavill was that great either, but that's
they were not okay. I'll touch on that.
It was mid. It was mid. It was mid. It was fucking mid. Don't tell me that shit was good. It was mid. It was mid.
I will concede mid. I was ready to hate them, and then when the movie started, and then like I keep saying Superman. When Clark Kent comes home, and Lois just kind of like melts in his arms, and they have that little embrace. I was for a second there. I'm not gonna lie, Brosif. I got a little bit tingly. And otherwise, in the movie, besides that initial scene that we discussed that was from the trailer, everything else about their coupling in that movie worked for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like they supported each other for the most part in like all the situations. And Lois, you know, a good Lois Lane is a Margot Kidder. Margot Kidder is the model that I would go by. And even when she's in peril, she was in peril a lot. Let's be honest. She screams a lot in those movies. But
it was awesome.
She was sassy and in charge of
tenacity,
stuff.
baby.
Yes,
tenacity.
This girl did a decent job with it. I thought. Otherwise, I was okay with her. I kind of thought the Jimmy Olsen thing was kind of funny.
That was Gen Z. Get the fuck out of here.
It was goofy. I don't know. I thought, you know what? At least we got a Jimmy Olsen in this fucking movie, right? What did they do? Kill him off screen in Dawn of Justice or something like that? And he was some like dude bro guy? No, that's not Jimmy Olsen. This kid at least was like a boyish looking guy, but the stuff with the girls that are all being into him, I just thought, okay, it's funny. It's really like it was a little bit too slapstick. I'm sorry. And then when you think about that scene with Jimmy Olsen, you think about a lot of the other slapstick stuff in the movie. And you realize how much of it there is. Like, it's a very campy movie, and it's really sappy kind of campy. And then I thought, where have I seen this before? This is so familiar. And I thought, holy shit, this is Superman 3. This is fucking Superman 3. This is just, let's just make a comedy movie with Superman in it. And I'll be honest, Superman 3 is a weird-ass Superman movie. It's a weird
It
ass
is.
Superman movie, but I always liked it. It
is.
was never something where, like, if it was on TV, I would watch it just the way I would watch Superman 2.
It has
Just
moments, bro. It has moments. It
it's
has
in
moments that make it
yes,
fucking awesome.
in my comparison, I would say for me, Superman 3 to Superman 2 is like Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, to Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. It's in a lot of ways reneges and pulls a punch on something that came directly before it, but on its own, it fucking works, and it's kind of a funny
It
movie.
did.
And I gotta say, I love the take on the Superman alter ego fight. Is actually one of my favorite fights in the whole series of Christopher Reeve's Superman movies.
Right? You always wanted to fly, Kent. Here's your chance.
I thought he did an awesome job as bad
It was
Superman.
sick.
I was all about that. I was all about that. And anything with Richard Pryor will just make me smile. And I was thinking
I
about
agree.
it. I was thinking about it in relation to this movie that I have just seen. And I was trying to like justify a lot of the silly stuff to the Superman 3 thing, and I realized just for kind of thinking about that, like, this movie is not as good as a film. Not a Superman movie. It's not as good as a film as 1983's Superman 3. I think it was 1983. It's not as good of a film as Superman 3. Superman 3, I know Richard Donner got screwed over. I know the whole story. Okay, I'm a big Superman guy.
Yeah, we're not to get into that. Yeah.
I know he hates a director that ended up cutting Superman 2, which was the same guy that made Superman 3. I know all that stuff, and I know fans who are a little bit too attached to a director's opinion sort of cultivate this attitude towards Superman 3. I'm not about any of that, and I don't agree. I think Superman 3 it stands on its own. It's a solid sequel, and it doesn't.
It is.
It does something that I wish more superhero movie sequels do, where it doesn't immediately try to double down on the slop to just generate box office. It actually is like, no, we did that supervillain thing in the last movie. We're going to do something different in this movie. We're trying something. That's what a sequel should fucking do. That's what a sequel should fucking do. I want to see that. I want to see fucking Thunderdome. I want to see Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I don't want to see. I don't know. Help me with this. I don't want to see Terminator 3. Okay. Terminator 3 was harmless.
Yes.
It was harmless, and it had no punch, and I don't even remember 60% of the movie.
You know what? I really respect your opinion, and you definitely changed my view on a few points. I really appreciate that a lot, and for me, Superman was a big deal. Like, my dad, like, when I was a kid, my dad, like, he sat me down and was like, this is like, Superman is a big deal. Like, when that movie came on, you shut the fuck up, you sat your ass on that couch, and you fucking watched it.
Yeah.
Like, in my house, Christopher Reeve and Superman in my house was a very serious thing. Like,
I know that.
My dad treated that movie like it wasn't a movie. Like, it was, it was a big deal when Jor-El is telling Kal-El not to interfere with human history, and he's talking about giving up his fucking what makes him unique just for this one person. Like, that was a big deal. It wasn't no bullshit in my house. Like, you felt that. So for me, Superman always lives in a very special place in my heart, I guess I should say. And I'm only basing my opinion off of that, just because that's what my dad brought me up and raised me on. So I'm not gonna say too much, because you pretty much hit the nail on the head with a lot of how the movie was and is, and I feel like you articulated it better than I ever could, so I probably won't. So I'll stick to the two major points where you said about the change of the message. Now, why I was so butthurt was because what's the message in Richard Donner's? The message is, teach the women and men of Earth they know not what they do, right? Basically, the Jesus Christ theory.
It was biblical,
You know,
yeah.
sending, yeah, it's the biblical sense, right? We're sinful and pieces of shit,
It
and,
was a spiritual
Jesus comes down
message
and
in a
saves us.
spiritual movie, because that's one thing about that movie too that people
Yeah,
don't talk about. It is a very spiritual movie.
it is. He's Jesus Christ. So, yeah, so that was the message, right? Teach the women and men of earth, they know not what they do. And then when Man of Steel came out, what was that message? They say, don't make the same mistakes we did, right? Because Krypton and their
Yeah.
hubris is their own destruction, which was a different take, in my opinion, and still the message came through. And this one is
Yes.
just like, oh, no, fuck them. They suck. Kill them all. Like, I thought Man of Steel was different and doing its own thing and not stepping on anybody's dick, and I thought it landed.
Okay.
But I do respect and understand when you were saying why is it okay that and that it works in the comics when it's a comic book thing. When James Gunn did it, it's like whatever, it's his own thing. And I see your point. You're right. That was his thing, and okay, that's fine. I do want to get into a point because you brought up Superman 3, and where Superman 3 fails in a lot of ways, or like it's not as good as the sequel that came before it, right? Like there's a lot.
Yeah, like I compared it to Star Trek 2 and 3 in a lot of ways. Even though Star Trek 3 I think is a good movie, it's they pulled back on some stakes they rose in the previous movie. And Superman 3 probably
Yeah,
you could say does that too.
and the
Yeah.
tone was a little off too, but Richard Pryor, there was a lot of funny shit with him. There was also like a lot of funny shit with the villain. That was a good villain. He wasn't a great villain, but he was good, and he had some funny fucking moments. Like when he's telling Gus to
Yeah.
fucking kill Superman, he's like, I asked you to kill Superman, and you couldn't even do that one simple thing. And he fucking hangs up. Like, it had
He
some
was a
really
weird.
fucking good moments.
I think he's based on a character from the comics. But my brother Jeff would be the guy to ask about this because he was way more into Superman than me. I think they based him on someone from DC, but I could be wrong about that. What I liked about him was that
He
he
wasn't.
was.
Oh well.
But here's
Awesome.
the thing: this was like Reagan '80s at this point. Where probably the most capitalist decade we've ever had, in my opinion, in terms of social imagery and pop culture. He was a perfect '80s villain, and what I liked about him, he was very whimsical about it too. Like, while he says that stuff to Gus, which is hilarious, at the same time he's like, Gus, like he just accepts this guy into his weird life because he's a crazy rich eccentric. You know what I mean?
You know what? That's a good way to put it. But again, that was awesome. And even the love interest, they did something different and they changed the love interest. Annette O'Toole was fantastic.
Oh, she's great.
The love between Lana Lang and Clark Kent works. The chemistry works. It was beautiful that finally Clark got some love. Because Margot Kidder loves Superman. She doesn't love Clark. Lana loves Clark.
That's a great point. I never really thought about it in that term. So when that movie came out, when they have the dance at the school, like the reunion,
yeah,
and they start playing Earth Angel, you got to remember that scene predates 1985 Back to the Future. Okay.
Oh.
That movie did that first, and then they basically took that song. Now I'm not saying they copied Superman 3. But first time I saw that scene was in Superman 3, not Back to the Future. I saw Superman 3 before I saw Back to the Future. And that was also happens to be the order. Sorry, it also happens to be the order in which those movies came out. So, in my opinion, there's something a little bit magical for one, and I don't want to say like copycatish because I'm not trying to say that about a great movie like Back to the Future because I love that movie, but I guess I don't know what I'm saying. I basically, when I think about that song, the first image I see is Christopher Reeves and Annette O'Toole, close together, like I was when I was at my junior college. Like, if you watch that scene, they're right into each other. Like they're pressed up against each
They're
other with
you
genuine
know
affection.
there's chemistry between them.
Yes, it's
Yes,
genuine affection.
beautiful, and it works. And you're just like,
And it's in that
oh man,
movie.
Clark gets
It's
the
in
love.
it's in that fucking movie. It's in Superman 3.
And it's in Superman, exactly. It's in Superman fucking 3.
It's just
And I'll
weird.
allow it. We agree on a lot of things, so there's just no point in beating a dead horse, I would say.
Well, keep
Um,
going with your
but
criticism. Then.
yeah,
I
the
want to hear
cringe
what
shit,
else.
man, that 1A shit. Like when I was in theaters and he was yelling at the screen like 1A, I was like, I wanted to just take the rustiest screwdriver I could find and stab it in my ear, you know. But
Want to
in the
hear
beginning
you.
of the movie, what?
It's like you don't know what's really happening yet, and then later you realize, oh, that doesn't make sense. They're nerds. Like, they're not. There's not like some
well, not,
supercomputer that Gus's boss made that can like out calculate Superman. You know,
Gus,
like that's in the
listen, the
comics.
plot.
Why didn't you use that?
And just for all the people out there who've never seen Superman 3, spoilers ahead. The antagonist of the film, besides the supercomputer, is Richard Pryor, who basically puts in HTML coding and asks AI of the '80s how to kill Superman, and then it gives them a probability of elements in the fucking universe. That's the plot.
That's right. He went on the computer and he hacked the ways to kill Superman off the
He
Reddit that
hacks the
didn't exist
computer.
yet.
Richard Pryor creates AI in the '80s and asks it how to kill Superman, and
And
then
at no
AI
point
gives
did
him
anyone
like,
think like the man just made artificial intelligence. Society is
yeah,
now
basically.
different, forever.
And then the funny part, Superman becomes bad because there's an unknown element that the computer can't quantify because it just doesn't understand it. So Gus inputs a chemical that's in cigarettes.
Oh yeah,
And
you're
it's
right.
right.
That's why he's
Isn't
got
that
like
implied
smoker
that it's like the
beard
cig?
and his
Yeah, he
outfit
puts
is
like
all
the
dimmed.
yeah, it's like the nicotine Superman. Like he puts a chemical he finds because he's smoking and he turns the pack of cigarettes
It's like a
upside
low
down,
key
and then he just picks like a
anti-smoking
random element.
campaign. Oh, that's so clever. I'm sure Christopher Reeves actually suggested that. Like, let's low key take a jab at cigarettes because kids watch this. Like, that is such a perfect
Yeah,
Superman mess. Oh, I love that movie.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Remember
go
that
watch
shit, the
Superman 3
unknown
again.
element. And Gus is
Yeah.
like, there was an unknown element, and I had to use something, and Superman didn't die. He's like, oh, so you're telling me you couldn't you couldn't kill Super that one little thing? Oh, that was fucking hilarious. But anyway, I digress. Superman, this movie by James Gunn is just not our Superman. So hashtag Christopher Reeve, and yeah,
What was it?
I
Super
agree.
shit?
Super shit. Hashtag super shit. Anyway, I want to play some fucking Elden Ring.